Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Coffee and Conversation. I am your host tonight, Red. I am joined by Universal Discourse. We are in for an interesting topic tonight called civil discourse and why it is needed. So, in just a moment here, guys, as I start to figure all this stuff out.
Hey.
Hey,
Hello.
welcome. Hello,
Oh, you're marvelous.
Well, thank you. I try. It's probably some weird luck in the water, I think, but nonetheless. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. This is a very unique night as I will be hosting. Again, I am joined by Universal Discourse. She is my gracious co-host tonight. We possibly might be joined by a special guest later on. We shall see. This is very different, obviously, you guys, because I'm kind of spearheading it tonight, and kind of hope I'm doing it right.
You are.
Excuse me. So, anybody that is tuning in tonight on Twitch or wherever you're watching from, please, if you have any comments, feel free to type them into chat, and we will. Of course, go accordingly. So, how are you doing tonight?
Hey, Death of Certainty. Thanks for following so much.
Yes, absolutely.
Red, it's so good to see you. I'm here because Acacia and I have decided to start a sort of a co-producing sort of little project. We may be switching on and off periodically, sharing content, etc. Get up a little bit of variety. I would like to be able to blend my community into Underground Media's community.
Absolutely.
We talk about stuff that matters, and you don't get Muppet with voiceover anywhere else on Twitch.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. My community has a lot of artists, so they're really going to like you and your friends.
Absolutely. That's awesome.
Maybe VIPs don't show up when we call them, only when they want to. Maybe.
Right. So I told our viewers that we're going to have a little bit of a discussion on civil discourse, and I want to kind of rename it a little bit to open dialogue. For those of you who pay attention in our society, it's a mess. It's a bloody mess. Guys, listen. In order for civil discourse or open dialogue to happen, multiple things need to be in place. But one of them is we both sides of the argument, so to speak, have to be willing to sit down and be open-minded. Because what we're seeing today, we're seeing a lot of name calling and a bunch of other BS. Some of it's coming from far right groups, some of it's coming from far left groups, some of it's coming from certain religious communities and things of that nature, and it's rather disgusting. Okay, here we are in 2021. We're still dealing with racism and hate, but it's a new breed of racism and hate, and it's not coming just from one side anymore. It's seemingly coming from both sides of the spectrum. It's coming down to, for a very prime example, okay, and this is a tactic I've seen used on the left side of the spectrum. If you don't agree with them, automatically you're branded a racist, right? And
a bigot.
And exactly. And I'm sorry, I'm here to tell you, everybody, not everything in the world is white supremacy. Not everything in the world is racism, okay? The fact that you want to attach a color to anything technically can make it racism here, folks, okay? So let's get that cat out of the bag. Both sides of the spectrum are currently garbage. And they're pitting. We are allowing ourselves to be divided. If we want true unity and peace, we have to drop, pardon my mouth, but we have to drop the bullshit. We have to start acting like adults. that I see videos on TikTok and Facebook of people screaming and throwing a fit over Governor DeSantis of Florida implementing some of his stuff, and it's like, you're a freaking adult. You're throwing a tantrum of a kindergartner. I've seen toddlers that behave better than some of these adults.
It's true. I mean, it's unironically.
Exactly. And for people that want to call out extremism and radicalism, why aren't we calling it out on both damn sides? You can't say only this place has it and what the other people are doing is almost essentially the same thing. You can't say one is and the other isn't when they are virtually identical on varying terms, right?
In many cases.
So when it comes, there's things. There's someone who's been a guest on Coffee and Conversation, Larry Kupperman, a good friend of ours at Beyond Barriers, and even here at Coffee and Conversation, that there are things that him and I simply do not agree on. Mm-hmm. But we're able to keep it civil and educated because we're not coming at it with garbage crap that somebody tries to say is fact. We at least try to be mindful of being realistic. In fact, I there's times you and I have talked where I may have made a statement and I've been called out on it because of lack of knowledge or maybe misconstruing the context in which I heard it, things of that nature. But we've been able to keep it civil to where we're like, oh, well, you know what? I didn't look at it that way before. Mm-hmm. I think if we drop the aggression, good grief, we'd go a long way, wouldn't we?
This is since the dawning of since the first time we flint-knapped something, the first thing we did was make a weapon. And the second thing we did was compete for the tools.
Absolutely.
But for the purpose of sharing, which is something we've forgotten.
Correct. I've had a lot of people who know my past and know my involvement in the far right have asked me even nowadays, what are my thoughts on most of the hot button topics? And it's very simple. I don't have one.
Perfect. That's it. Don't you?
I make it. First of all. Well, right. The way I see it is this: if you're good to me, I'm good to you.
Correct.
If you do me dirty, I'm going to cut ties with you. And peace, deuces, get out. I don't need you.
I say, be nice to me, or I won't be to you.
Exactly. I've learned in life that not everybody is going to like what I do. I'm not going to like everything that anyone else does in their life, but if it's not bringing you harm, it's not putting you in any physical danger, then what in the hell is the problem? Mm-hmm. Why do you care? Why should anybody care who's sleeping with who, what gender they choose to be, or feel they are, what religiously? I don't care what God anybody worships. I could care less. Mm-hmm. Because it does not affect me and my daily life. And the world should take heed to that mindset. It's okay to believe in something different from your neighbor or from your friends or from your family.
Yeah. And you don't live
Go ahead.
You don't live in an oppressive totalitarian regime the way you think you do by worshiping communism, which makes no sense to me. But let me bring in to that, the everyman that Red brings us.
Right.
Okay. Let me bring into that what Acacia asked me to bring for a special segment, which is the kind of background and expertise, or if you want to call it that, experience from someone who trains people in civil discourse and mediates even in hostage negotiations with terrorists, which is one of the worst scenarios, second only to suicide, trying to talk somebody down off a ledge. Okay. So there's some things about this. What is going on now? Um, Identity politics in the 90s, famously, the whole politically correct movement and the gatekeeping,
Mm-hmm.
changing a pronoun in a book. And
Right.
everybody went, I went to school Friday. It was what it was. I come back Monday and it's three different sets of pronouns. I have no idea what's happened. Right?
Right.
Policies changing without the full, without any time for society to adjust. Things
Right.
like
Right.
that. Abrupt motions, initiatives, and policies are as extreme as
Yeah.
getting a club and going out as the Boogaloo Boys policing the neighborhood, being
Right.
vigilante and Salafists, Sharia law
Right.
people. It's
Right.
the same, but in a different way.
Absolutely.
One of them is
And it's
systemic, and the other ones are kind
yes.
of a one-off.
You're right, and the part that honestly gets under my skin is automatically because I am a conservative. I'm a registered Republican, but people automatically go, "Oh, well, then you're a bigot." Well,
Right.
no. And see, unfortunately, I'm catching flack from both sides. I support LGBTQ plus rights. I'm an ally, right? I'm not a Bible thumping Christian.
Mm-hmm.
To be blunt, I don't have any one particular religion specifically that I follow. There are, I do lean a little more towards the Nordic, old Nordic
North.
beliefs, Old Norse, but Norse
Mm-hmm.
paganism. But of course, there again, people say, "Oh, well, then you're still you're this or you're that." Well, no,
No.
that's where you're wrong. You need to educate yourself, folks.
Right.
And on top of that, I'm also pro-choice.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got three strikes against me coming from the conservatives, and of course,
Mm-hmm.
the liberal left will call me a bigot just because I'm a damn conservative. Well, no, you just
Mm-hmm.
need to get off your high horse. None of us on this earth are better than anyone else. Are there issues in this world? Yes. Yes,
Duh.
there is.
Duh.
But we have forgotten what it's like to just love each other and we don't have to like one another, but we better damn well respect one another.
So the other thing that's happening, there are principles to civil discourse which are very, theory. I can give you a lot of science and theory, but what's relevant is what matters in all cases. That's actually the principle of discourse, period. It's got to be relevant, right? Because this side is picking on that side and that side is retaliating to, in other words, because they've chosen to gamify this and get into the game together. Guess what? The reality of it is that hurting each other through words and other violent deeds is what's relevant to them. That's what they want.
Exactly.
Now, the problem is why? Why does an entire generation want to be intolerant, to antagonize, to persecute, and to hurt? Hi, baby. You should be in bed resting.
Oh no, that's me typing from the chat in here. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. We're stuck. Oh, no, no, no. We want to make this so good, Acacia doesn't have to even worry about it. So
Well, exactly.
why? Why have you? I'm going to say you because I'm not doing it. He's not doing it. Okay, underground media is not doing it.
Right.
Oh, that's so cool. That's cool. Why is there's the influence of digital technology. The Zoomers raised entirely on nothing but video games. All right,
Right.
to the point
Right.
where we've got studies showing permanent brain damage. What? All right, yeah, it's a thing. Okay, why has the goalpost shifted? Why has the
Right.
paradigm shifted? I know for a fact that when we speak, relevancy is the rule. What's relevant is
Absolutely.
look at the language. Look at the
Yeah.
language. Persecutory language. Awful ad hominems. Everything from, it's that white debate bro going, how come I can't say the N word? It's my right to use, that is, please, really?
Well,
Everything
and when
from that, which is one of the worst, to if you're not Antifa, you're a Nazi from the other side. That whole gamut.
absolutely that whole gamut, and
Same thing.
a lot of people will complain or argue when it comes to the First Amendment, saying that, oh well, we can say it, but you can't, and that's a blanket statement. Everybody, that's a that is meant to be a blanket statement. I'll word it like that. Um, the fact of the matter is, whether it's good speech, bad speech, or
It's protected.
not,
Right.
it is protected. Now,
Unless,
that's not just that does not make it okay to speak hateful, derogatory, discriminatory language. However, we all have the right granted, given to us by the First Amendment, but we also have to be mindful of how we speak. Just because we have the right to say it does not mean we should say it, because our words have consequences, right?
well, we would like it if people were mindful. However, the First Amendment says any speech, however heinous and abhorrent and all that, I will defend your right to say it. Supreme Court
Right,
Justice says. All right, but except for two things: sedition and hate speech.
right,
Those two have some pretty serious consequences, not just social.
right, right.
We want people to be conscious of others. This new generation, and it's not really that new, says that the facts don't care about your feelings. And the fact is, the First Amendment protects my speech. And I'll call you N-word all day long.
But you're not free from the
Wow.
consequences of what you say.
Well, you can't hurt somebody. What are you going to do? Punch them? You're in jail. But it's the taunting and the brazenness and the ugliness and the ridiculousness of
And
pushing that.
unfortunately,
That's what's wrong. Why that hurts.
Right. Well, exactly. Now, I see that happening on both the right and
Correct.
the left.
It's not the word. It's not the word.
It's the action.
It's how they're using it.
It's the context.
And
absolutely.
Why. The purpose.
Absolutely. You've seen
language weaponizes, correct?
Absolutely, it does.
We know how to disarm it, and we know better than to shoot in the face of a guy who's afraid you might lynch him,
right?
And use that one bullet that's going to make him lose his mind.
There's a meme that I've seen on Facebook of don't push me to the point where I have to become violent or what have you, and then pretend to be the victim when you're the one who put me in that position.
Correct.
Something along those lines, and that's very true. Don't poke the lion and then blame the lion for attacking you and killing you. You're the one who provoked it. Now, I see provocation happening on both sides, right? Both right and left. It's disgusting the amount that it happens on both sides.
It's unfortunate because
it's very unfortunate. We should not be this divided.
But the kids, man, but the game, everybody wave their signs now. Everybody wave their phones now. Everybody pretend to be a hippie because you missed your chance in the last generation. But in the same breath, tell me how much you hate boomers. Your own grandparents were hippies. This is what I'm talking about. Don't be a fool.
Exactly.
Don't be a hypocrite. Don't let me poke a hole in your entire riot shield.
Bingo. Don't pull out your phone and only show. This is the other thing, too. We're not always getting the full stinking story. People get half of a video. The media, it's all ratings, people. It's all fucking ratings. Mm-hmm. And it's disgusting. We are destroying people's lives.
Yeah.
Everything is being bloody politicized. I'm having a very hard time with my language. I apologize, folks.
No, that was exactly the word. It's being politicized. It's being
and it's disgusting.
Meaning forced into a race category when often it's not. Okay, it's being gendered. Yes. It's being identity labels flying like a Cuisinart full of brrr at everybody.
Yes.
And when you rip those things off, there's a lot of raw flesh under there and a ton of ignorance. And I'm very, very, very tired of people deliberately avoiding mediation, expertise.
Yes.
Okay, truth, because it would screw up their gaming strategy. This is not Final Fantasy 15. This is your ass on the line. And look what you're doing. And you know, every word that goes across the line is just another piss balloon.
Right.
That's all it is.
And let's face it.
Monkeys fling poo better. Okay, so you could put that down now.
Yes, they do. No, you're
Okay,
not
so
wrong.
that's my
And
hotness. That's
and death of certainty, I will preach it because I used to be a preacher by trade. So
yeah,
I can
geez,
get up and preach. I can preach with the best of them, buddy. Let me tell you.
we can too.
Listen, guy. Listen, my friends. This is the damn facts. Okay. 90% of the issues today are because of spoiled, entitled, undisciplined twits.
Kids.
Your parents have failed you by coddling you, by shielding you from the real world. Your parents have failed you. Yeah, I said it. I'm probably digging myself a hole here, and quite frankly, I don't know
Okay,
that I'm all that concerned.
I can.
By
Well,
the
let
by
me.
the everybody is special
Mhm.
movement, that whole thing created a. There is just no
Right.
consequence for piss poor behavior.
I can dig him out of the hole. I'm a master certified special education tutor, right? So I deal with
Right.
people, kids with profound learning disabilities who are, I guess you would call them the millennials with the helicopter moms.
Yep.
Okay. They were so, they came to me so helpless, throwing up with anxiety, with 17
Yep.
labels and at least 15 pill bottles.
Yeah.
And all
Absolutely.
they wanted was to go to college like everybody else, all right, and get away from the helicopter parents. But the parents pursued them and made them nervous wrecks. And I've sat with more than 4,000 students. So I'm not talking about one kid, I'm talking
Right.
about all of them. All right.
Right.
When I asked them, you millennials get an awful lot of flack. Can you tell me why?
It's the
And one
parents.
girl, I'll never forget what she said. She said,
Excuse me.
our parents did their best by us, but they overprotected us. So from the very first day, we found out that we were helpless, we were disabled.
Right.
And I said, are you kidding me? She said, no. They were so concerned that we would go to the doctor for the slightest thing. And so the first
Yep.
word out of our mouths wasn't our names, it was our labels. And I went, you're joking. She said, no, ma'am, I am not. And
So
I went, so you're telling me that your name was dyslexia? She said,
so
yeah, all right.
that begs a very that begs a very good question of why then are a lot of these, not all, okay, because there are a lot of younger kids nowadays that are seeing through the bullshit and they're actually
Zoomers.
thinking for themselves, which is great. It's refreshing to see. But
Yes.
why are so many people holding on to this label, this stereotypical crap? It's no different than um, off the wall alt right conservatives giving the rest of the
No,
Republican Party a bad name, right?
correct.
So
It's fear.
why?
It's fear.
So don't they say, "Hey, man up and accept the change"? Why can they not do that for themselves? It can be used as commodity form. Death of
It is
certainty.
a
That
form
is
of
an
currency.
excellent, yes, excellent response. Thank you.
That's Wick. He's something. And these come from fear base. When you can't let go of a crutch of any type,
Yeah.
you are coming from fear. And where fear comes great hostility. Any animal who's
Yes.
cornered will bare their fangs and be
Yes.
right in your face, man.
Oh, God,
But they
don't
want to
I
call
know
it
it
strength.
firsthand?
Really, they want to call it strength. I always
Right.
think of my little nephew who saw a poster of, was it St. Michael slaying the dragon?
I think so. Yes.
Okay. So he sees a volcano and there's this awful dragon and he's drooling and he's about to bite this valiant, tiny little knight. All right. And my little 3-year-old nephew came and looked at that poster in my room because I loved black light posters. And I didn't think a thing of it. And I tore it down because his reaction to that dragon scared him so bad. He balled his little fists up, and then he just looked at the dragon, and he looked at the man, and he looked at the dragon, and he looked at the man, and he backed up, and he screamed with 68 pounds. It
Wow.
sounded like a lot of anger. He was terrified. And then he pounded the poster. Why? Don't eat my daddy. Oh my God. I
Wow.
said, honey, I'm going to tear this down. And then I thought, no, wait, no, I won't. I was like, baby, come here. And hold my hand. That's a picture. See it? Flat. He touched it, realized, okay. I
Mm-hmm.
said, the thing can't hurt your daddy or you.
Right.
He said, yeah. I said, no, I can't. I said, tell me what you see, because he only has
Right.
baby words. He said, claws, claws, and toothpick. It was so
Mm-hmm.
funny. Toothpick, sword. And I said, is that daddy? And he goes, daddy's strong. Ah, dragon, dragon. And I was like, yeah, dragon.
Right.
And I said, okay, baby, um, how would you save your father? And then I got his story. And you know how they do.
Sure.
Absolutely unrealistic. But I gave him his confidence back to face it. And then I put his hand back on him. And
Right.
I said, okay, now touch that. And he touched it again. I said, is the dragon still scary?
Right.
No,
You know,
no. He petted it. And I went, okay, so you don't have to be afraid. Right. And your daddy is not afraid. Your daddy's not going to get hurt. It's fine. You need to go tell
uh,
him how much you love him right now. It turned
right.
the whole thing around. But it was so fast how afraid
Right.
and then how hateful.
I like that approach, and here's why. I just read a story, and I'm catching some flack for it on
Yay.
social media. Of course, imagine that, me stir the pot. They're wanting to take down, continue to take down Confederate statues and stuff like that. Now, listen. Before I go further, let me preface by saying this. Slavery was a very dark part of our history here in the United States. It is absolutely disgusting. I do not approve of it, of it what it was, and I still to this day think it is an absolutely disgusting uh, act that was committed to a people that did not deserve it. Period. Now, if you take down statues and you take out pictures out of the history books and you refuse to even speak about it,
Sure.
I think that is robbing somebody of an education. If we lose our history or forget or try to erase our past, we
You
stand a
can't learn.
strong chance of it happening all over again.
Repeating it?
History is doomed to repeat itself when you forget it.
Mhm.
Ladies and gentlemen, and anyone else, whatever your pronouns are, whatever. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to offend anybody. This is just general terms.
All y'all.
All y'all listen up. All right? Listen, Cupcake. History sucks. History is sometimes painful. For those of you who are conservative Christians, you might be listening, your history as a Christian, that ain't all clear and clean and dandy neither, so don't sit there and try to pretend it is, all right? It ain't. There has been division, there has been slavery, there has been class warfare since the dawn of time. We have to learn from it. You can try to erase it all you want, but it will never go away until we learn to sit down and chat to one another, and boom. Death of certainty. You raise a great question. How do you feel about moving them from the public square to museums, not taking them down entirely, but moving them? I like that idea.
I do. I endorse it.
Bravo.
100%.
Yes.
And
because museums are a place to learn from, right? That we see natural history museums,
you know what would be even better? We used to have public forum for public speech. They're designated forums. That's your First Amendment rights protecting you. Yeah.
Yes.
So we should have a public forum in front of these icons of history, all right? So that people can orient, all right? Here's the problem. We do know that some people, for the optics alone, will become infatuated with something like the SS uniform, for instance. Yep. They have the confirmation bias. Well, the uniform looks hot. Well, they must have been good people. They make that Greek mistake, essentialism, then the confirmation bias, and they'll pursue. All right, so you tear down all of history because of those people instead of educating them as to why they don't want to go down the rabbit hole.
Exactly.
You know, it comes from open communication and the truth. Civil means truth. Yes. It means fair,
yes. Factual
and
basis.
Honest. That's it.
You can't. I see this happening a lot more so on the left than the right, but I see junk science on both sides. I see people wanting to make certain things fact that is really not fact.
Oh, God.
Right? And it's just stupid. All right. It's stupid.
Correct. Now, you also have young people and some older conservatives all sort of practicing because they want to take political positions. And so they're trying to handle what we would call the tools of the master.
Right.
without
Proper
ever having
knowledge.
learned how to make their own. And it's
Thank you.
absolutely embarrassing.
It
And you're handing
is.
loaded weapons to children.
Right. You know, I get this argument a lot because I'm very pro Second Amendment. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I get people telling me, well, it's a gun problem. Assault rifles, assault rifles, assault rifles. Well, first of all, no. The AR stands for Armor Light Rifle Company, but that's neither here nor there. Assault, ladies and gentlemen, and cupcakes and everything, and unicorns and everyone else.
Beignets.
Yes, assault is say it with me, a verb. It's an action. A rifle is a noun. A person,
did you say it
place,
with
or
an
thing.
assault is a verb? Okay.
Yeah, assault is a verb. If I take this pen right here and stab somebody, it's not an assault pen. I assaulted somebody with a pen.
Assault pen.
Well, think about it. So
no, I've never heard it put that way. That's pretty funny.
Well, but it is. It's pure and simple.
Okay.
The gun, the knife, the axe, the baseball bat, the explosives, the rope, the chain, whatever weapon is used is a tool for the act of assault. So when you take something and switch it all around and mix it all up to fit your agenda, you're not allowing for actual discourse to take place.
Okay.
They are tools,
and
however.
The other thing that they don't say is this.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Depth of certainty, I am right there with you. Okay. Reasonable restrictions and laws, yes, they are helpful. I completely agree. But
because they are deadly weapons.
They are, but I promise you, when a crime is committed, 99% of the time, at least from what I've read from like FBI statistics, ATF, so on and so forth, the research that I have done, okay, the guns are obtained illegally, right? No amount of universal background checks and all that, that's not going to stop illegal guns from happening. I don't know. I don't have that answer, and nor should we dig that hole tonight. That can be for a whole nother night, and I'd be happy to entertain that. But having been a firearms salesman, running the FBI background checks, we check their ID, we verify. When you buy a gun, even at gun shows, I went to one recently where people were filling out the 4473, which is the FBI background check. So you know what I mean? So I am right there with you, Death of Certainty. Reasonable rules and regulations being in place are very helpful. I'm right there with you. So as far as being an absolutionist, no, but I think punishing legal gun owners for the acts of criminals, I think that's disproportionate to the end goal of wanting to curb criminal activity. I do believe that there's a mental health aspect to it. I do believe that there should be more programs to curb, to help people want to not hustle. Let's face it, when you're hustling and you're dealing and you're slinging, there's easy money made. You know, ask me how I know. Not only have I seen it, I used to do it. You know, when I talk about certain things, guys, I come from a place of experience.
He talks from, not about. That is my motto.
Exactly. So when we talk about violent extremism, I come from a background of violent extremism.
So do I.
So
believe it or not.
Exactly. And so essentially, no matter how many degrees somebody has or what college you went to, it doesn't necessarily make you an expert. A lot of drug and alcohol counselors are recovering addicts or recovering alcoholics themselves, so they have firsthand knowledge of what happens, so they understand.
If you can only talk about, and you haven't even done, say, even field research, where, for instance, you live inside communities that are your subjects, and if you come in there with no intention of advocating, okay, you're just reading what somebody else told you, accepting the premises, not challenging it, and just more or less copying. Right. Okay, that doesn't give you expertise. So it is true. In my field, you can't do what I do in my field unless you are the shiznit. All right, there's only 5 of us. We're constantly challenged by this kind of absolutely inadequate quote, right to knowledge, right? This is another thing about civil discourse, right? Throwing labels is the same as throwing credentials. There's nothing
Yeah.
behind it. It's empty words. You're making noise with the lips.
Yes.
You are doing a lot of damage
Yes.
because you're on automatic and you are spraying. That's how I see it. It's another way of people.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
So bringing it
100%.
back,
Absolutely.
every single thing we're going to talk about is just giving us a real life example of what we think is just not okay. It's not working. It's adding to the problem.
Absolutely. And giving opinion on a subject is not necessarily a bad thing.
Of
What
course not.
turns
That's
it
why we
bad
talk. Right.
right. What turns it bad is when you refuse
Mm-hmm.
to listen to the other person. A prime example. Growing up, I used to have a strong disdain for Native Americans. Okay.
Boo.
Yeah. But it was the environment in which I was raised. Okay. It wasn't until I spent some time in a treatment facility where the demographic was, uh, we'll say, between 80 and 90% Native American to, a small percentage of Caucasian, right? So what they
Right.
did was they intertwined um, different practices in the treatment, right? So we had, as a young white man, I had an opportunity to go sit in on a sweat lodge multiple times throughout the course of my treatment.
Wow.
I had the opportunity to learn how to build a new sweat lodge, how to build a ceremonial drum. I had the privilege to sit in and participate in a pipe ceremony. So that really, after being able to sit down and have that free and open discussion about this culture, about these people, it helped me develop a new appreciation for them.
Let's
I've
do.
I've um, I've had the privilege to sit in with them. Forgive me, I don't know the proper term for the Muslim prayer service, but going to mosque. So
Mosque.
I've been invited and have participated. Uh, I've had the privilege to sit down during Muslim feast and
Wow.
dine with these folks. I've so I've allowed myself to open that door. I've been involved in the LGBTQ community. I've been on a member of different boards to help grow those communities and help with community engagements and things. And none of these people, Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative, independent, we're not natural enemies, but we are allowing ourselves to be closed-minded. We are allowing ourselves to be closed off to such a to such a point. Most of us, not all, but in general, that we just don't allow that open conversation, that back and forth. And that's one thing I miss it, because
Let's
how
do
do
an
we learn?
exercise. Do you want to do an exercise that I use in my
Yeah,
own
why
field
not?
training? If,
Yeah.
if you're comfortable with it. Okay, so there's folks in chat. There's also other viewers that watch this offline. So, Red, without kind of, you can incriminate yourself. If you be very careful. I'm indigenous. So why
Mhm.
don't you bring that voice and perspective from the past back and aim it at me? And I want to show you how we react to what we call racism or uncivil discourse, bigotry. Can you recreate that for a minute?
Mm.
And I want to show you how we respond to it. And I want to see how the chat watching feels and what they might do. And I don't mean for you to turn into a monster for us, but if you can
No,
maybe
no.
aim some of those
So,
things and attitudes
um,
so we
uh,
can see it.
so a lot of it would be so growing up. A lot of it would be, oh, well, here's just another drunken Indian on the street begging for money,
Glani. It's called a glani. There you go. There's the word for it. Mm-hmm.
or here's just another teepee burner that living
Mm-hmm.
off of welfare. Because
Mm-hmm.
because where I grew up, it was a heavily populated, at one time, heavily populated Native American presence.
What reservation was it?
Mostly Lakota Sioux,
All right.
Santee Sioux.
Sanpei, Lakota, probably Pine Ridge,
Yep.
Rosebud, one of those. All right, these are the
Ogallala.
Oglala. These are the
Yeah.
poorest places
Yep.
in the
They are,
world. They're fourth
and
world conditions.
it's disgusting how they
Yeah.
got screwed by the government.
Well,
So
okay.
so to all you people that think the government's going to care for you,
No, no, no,
guess
no,
what? They're
no.
not.
No. And so the attitude going down the street, let's see if we can pull out some of the language. Um, Things people say about Native Americans when
Mhm.
they are biased against them. You want to teach?
One of
Put the
them.
truth on the table. It's ugly, but get ready. It's trigger warning.
Trigger warning, people. It's making me physically ill to even utter these next words.
And you can type them in
Um,
chat because I really don't want to
uh,
upset you. Help us teach
nope,
them.
I am fine. But one derogatory term was the use of prairie, and then of course the N word would follow very closely.
Which is what I was called every day for years
Yep,
as a child.
yep. That was the very most common. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so uh, yeah,
Which means what? I mean, you have to really think about that when it leaves such a
right.
visual in your mind, doesn't it? We're going to go into
It
with
does.
Charlie. I'm going to bring Fran Drescher out to meet Charlie when it comes. So that's one thing. But the attitude, what were the beliefs
Yeah.
about us?
So the common belief, we went without knowing this person's backstory. Okay, um, homelessness is an issue nationwide.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and my hometown was no exception. The primary the primary demographic at that time, as I was growing up, was mostly Native Americans who were homeless and drinking, and maybe there was some
Wow.
drug use. You know, so
Wow.
not knowing their backstory, you think, oh well, here's just this lazy drunk begging for change because he's too lazy to go get a job.
Because they're
Well,
always that way.
that's the assumption. That
Assumption.
was the assumption. I never stopped to bother to ask their backstory.
Mm-hmm.
I
Or
like folks. For those of you who are tuning in, I've done some things that honestly I should have paid the ultimate price for. And
it's hard to say. It's hard for you to say that. So if he's talking to you, don't take him for granted. Please don't.
so for the continual disgusting, abhorrent crap that I see from both sides, it's bullshit. All right,
Mm-hmm.
it just needs to fucking stop.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Mm-hmm.
everybody's made mistakes. Everyone's got a past. Nobody is immune to that. Right? We should not be trying to punish the generations of now for the past of how our country first was.
That's one thing.
We
I'll,
need
I'll
to
be I'll be getting very
go ahead.
explicit about how Indigenous people feel about that particular issue. But go ahead.
Yes,
So
no,
we're writing that one down.
because people need to hear it. I
They
hear
hear
a
it from
lot of
me because, like him, I talk from as
right.
well. I'm sorry, Red. This is the first time we
That's
sat
all right.
together. We're both very a little bit upset, and we're both passionate, and we come from a
Yes,
background. We still shoot. We're sorry, okay, but that's how it is. Go ahead.
you know, it's I hear so much emphasis put on the black community. Now, listen, my friends, I have a lot, and I mean a lot, of friends that are people of color. I have friends that are of indigenous background.
People
I
of
have
color.
friends from all walks of life.
Ooh, you're lucky.
For some of you whiny little pissant white kids that
Oh,
think
hold
you've
on.
got it rough, let me tell you something, Cupcake. You don't know rough. Some of you kids that grew up on mommy and daddy's golden teat don't know rough.
True.
Learn someone's background. Don't ever claim to be a voice for
Mm-hmm.
somebody. Don't sit
Mm-hmm.
here and think that because you're white that you can speak on behalf of these people.
Mm-hmm.
Saints Girl, thanks for subscribing. You cannot adequately speak for a person of color, an indigenous person, or any other category if you yourself are not. You are taking away their voice because they have one, believe me. That does not make you a good person. Stand in solidarity with them, but do not be their mouthpiece. Let them have their voice.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow,
Mm-hmm.
I digress.
No, that was exactly on fleek. You were very on fleek. That's perfect. Okay.
I know a
Um,
lot of I know a lot of people normally don't. They normally don't get to see me in this
mode.
mode. I did do a Reds rant on my own channel not that long ago, kind of blah. On this one, we are normally a lot more happy-go-lucky and things of that nature. That is very clear, but um, you guys need to hear it. I don't sugarcoat. I don't powder nobody's behind. If your feelings are hurt, good, because you needed to hear it.
Well, I think whether you needed to hear it,
Sorry.
sometimes we need to say it too. Fair enough, right?
So,
So, if you
real
like the
quick,
show, this is
yes.
Coffee and Conversation, which I've just told your new friend Saints Girl. Okay, I hope you enjoy these conversations. They are dark and bitter. They are light and fluffy. This is Coffee and Conversation. Our
It's so
normal,
fluffy!
beautiful host, Acacia, is not here today, but a fabulous Red and Buddy Charlie and myself, the strange one, UD, we are here
So,
having a dark and bitter today.
we
So you
are, and
you want me to get your sweet and low out, okay?
that's right.
Because it will
On
get
that note,
darker.
oh yeah. On that note, before we go any further, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cupcakes, unicorns, and fairies of all ages, all my friends that are tuning in tonight, mental health is key in this world. You need to take time for self-care. Please know that you're not struggling alone. All right? You are in an area where it's going to be okay. All right? Do not take a permanent solution for temporary problems. All right? If you yourself or anyone you know is dealing with a mental health crisis, please call 911 or your local emergency number right away. They have staff that are trained specifically for these encounters, and they want nothing more than to help you to make sure that you are alive. If you are having any suicidal idealization, please call 1-800 273 8255. That is the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. It is available 24 hours a day in both English and Spanish. If you don't want to call somebody, you can text the word HOME, HOME, to 741-741 and be connected with a crisis counselor. To our friends up north in Canada, available 24/7, 365. You can call 1-833-456-4566. That's available again 24/7, 365. Again, up in Canada, you can send a text to 45645. That's between the hours of 4 p.m. and midnight Eastern Daylight Time. If you need to get immediate help, again, please call 911 or your local emergency number. Report to your local emergency department. They have staff on hand 24/7, 365 that are trained to deal with a mental health crisis. And believe me, we want to see you alive. This world is better off with you in it,
Than without.
despite what you may think.
Listen, you don't believe it, but we're gonna miss you
So
when you're
with
gone.
that,
Mm-hmm.
that's right. I
So
almost sang right there, but nobody wants to hear me sing because it sounds like nails on a chalkboard.
no, I'll sing. Wait. You'll feel better if I sing. I will make you feel better. And so getting dark and bitter. I like to get. Let me get indigenous with you. For instance, civil discourse, picking on people, labels, right? Much of what Red has said, which I sometimes would call, well, not exactly a gish gallop, because actually he's very sequential. It's on track. It's on play. He's on point all the time. Okay. But every point is the point. It's like, fencing. Okay. When we talk about indigenous, well, let's talk about that. All right. Basically, we know exactly how we're seen. We know exactly who we
Right.
are. Now, a couple of issues. Right. Civil, dignified, sovereign. The word sovereign comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Would you try to speak for a king or a queen?
No.
Would you presume? All right. So this word is not very popular, but unfortunately, it is true that Native Americans here in North America are, in fact, sovereign citizens.
Yes, they are.
All right. So yes, we ended up with horrible social problems in fourth world conditions, and yet somehow we know exactly what our languages are. We still dance, we still pray, we still play, we still love, we still hate the same
That's right.
way. We did not lose. We did not die. You tried. You
Right.
kept, like Khan, missing the target. So what
That's
was
right.
easier was to steal the children and murder them and bury them. So we sat
Right.
for 500 years under that degree of awful. So do you really think a few little N-words are going to bother us? Second,
Nah.
with the critical race theory controversies, so many people feeling that they came out of school going, gee, I'm supposed to feel guilty, but there's nothing I can do. They were also taught something else. They were actually taught that Native Americans were almost extinct. And so it was okay to feel guilty because there really wasn't anything you could do because they thought we were all dead. Joke's on you, we're alive and well.
That's
We
right.
are alive and well. And guess
That,
what?
that,
Do you know what one thing that we do more than anything? Ask any of us. We fight amongst ourselves about, are you going to hate white people today or are you not going to hate white
right.
people today? Right?
Right.
Are you going to admire black people today and feel crap about your own red ass today? Or are you not? Or are you going to be proud today? We go back and forth with color.
Sure.
We can't stand it. All right. That's the effect all this has had on us. Colonization. Okay. Occupation.
Right.
All right. One thing we all do, all of us do, when we say we, some people say you worship your ancestors. No, we don't. We revere them. They are living, just like the Japanese Shinto, just like the Norse,
Yes.
just like those people. We are exactly like them. They are animists. Guess what? It's not race. It's not unique to us.
That's
We
right.
will not desecrate or disrespect our ancestors. My stream has some extraordinarily gutting, bloody, crying, screaming, exorcism type streams where people come and get in the medicine circle, and boy, out it comes. And I wanted to
Yeah.
tell you something. Hi, Go Mental. I want to tell you something. The only
Ha!
time
Go mental. Nice to see you.
our rule is not to lose our temper in public. I lost my temper twice. Once when someone attempted to step through a medicine circle where two women were engaged
Right.
in discourse. Big no-no. Second was when I had, for some reason, I didn't know what a leftist was. I didn't know what an apolitical. I didn't know what political Twitch was. There was another streamer who sent their white chat members after
Mm.
beating up on them and screaming at them about horrible things and making them cry. Horrible things. They flocked over to me. They were apologizing. I had no idea who these people were.
Right.
I said, what's happened? My people are called the Cree. I said, did something happen in Quebec? What's going on? What's going on? No, they were going, oh, we're so sorry. Okay, for what somebody did. And they would say things to me like, can you zip me out of my white suit? Two things. Let me be clear. Please never say that to an indigenous person. You know why? You are asking me to spit in the face of your ancestors. Do you understand? You're telling me that your grandmother was a piece of S and that you must be a piece of S because you came from her.
Mm-hmm.
Are you out of your mind? You ask an indigenous person to disrespect life and your own ancestors? You have no respect for your ancestors. You're sitting there full of shame. Hitler was ashamed of his ancestry. Pisses the person off. Can make you a little touchy. I'm just saying. I'm not
You're
lying.
not wrong. You're not
You
wrong.
feel bad because of the way you were born, because you have whiteness, because you were floated over in a boat when you had nothing at all to do with what happened to my people who are Canadian and we owned and launched the fur trade? It is our fault that all of you are here. Do you know we Cree feel guilty about that to this day? Did you know that? We feel guilty because if we hadn't given those beaver pelts by the millions and millions a year easily, and then turned on our own rivals like jerks, if we hadn't done that and then put the guns back, which left everybody else defenseless, you know what? There would not have been a United States. Britain would never have been able to afford it. You're only here because of my people. Do you think, right? How do you think we feel about that?
Right. You know,
angry that you came, or oh my God, if we hadn't done this, look at the, and then they invited more immigrants. All of you are immigrants.
Sure.
Now, we learned our lesson. We are the ones who said you can't eat money. You can't eat money. Okay?
Right.
Money eats you.
Can't. That's
all
right.
We did not lose. We did not go to war. We sue. We win. We own all of our own land, our own language, our own education, our own history, everything. You know why? We dealt with the French, not the British. There's a big nuance whether you are a French descendant or a British descendant or a Scottish. Who your ancestors are absolutely matter. I will not spit in the face of anyone's ancestor.
Right.
You may not come to me, and please don't come to another Indigenous person apologizing or asking not to be white. That is absolutely outrageous. You are slapping your own ancestors in the face. Please don't.
You shouldn't be going to anybody of any nationality apologizing
for having
over something as simple the color of your bloody skin.
Correct. Look at me. I look high yellow, right? My DNA. Indian.
The fact of the matter, people, is
it doesn't matter.
I know that America has a dark past. We as human beings suck.
Yeah, we do.
But why are you apologizing for something as
you didn't do? So civil discourse means respect Red, even though right now he's angry. Respect it. Don't react. Listen. Listen to it. Second, respect yourself. So if you come to one of us, we're specifically talking about Indigenous people. You come to us with respect, and that's how you will be treated. So you would come to us and say, can I learn about your culture?
Right.
I really admire it. That's civil discourse. That's respectful.
Go Mental, you posted a question in chat that says, so patronizing, yes. Please elaborate for me, because I want to make sure I know where you're coming from with that question. So if you could elaborate in chat for me, please do.
We just met Go Mental, and you did a brilliant job participating in leadership. Thank you so much, Go Mental.
Yeah, Go Mental is an amazing human being. Really,
we were lucky to have a visitation by this individual. I had no idea, and they were absolutely 100%. I think they mean something is so patronizing. I'll wait. Can I take a minute to step out? Because I'm the one that the vapes or whatever, and I don't want to do that on UM stream.
Sure.
I'm going to take a moment, and Bossman Red is in charge for about 3 minutes.
I don't know about that Bossman stuff, but while she's gone, ladies and gentlemen,
it's an Indigenous term, eh?
Right.
All right.
We are going to take a second here. I want to talk about my friends over at Black Rifle Coffee. Visit blackriflecoffee.com. When you buy a bag, they give a bag. When you pick up a bag of their limited time Liberty roast or other roasts that are available, you are going to get the absolute best medium roast in America. You will also support their mission to donate 1 million cups of coffee to the heroes both stateside and overseas this month. If you like good, strong coffee, this is the place for you. Right now, their special is if you join the club, you get a free mug. That's right. If you sign up for the best coffee subscription in America, you will get a free mystery mug with your order. I have recently started trying Black Rifle Coffee, and holy help me, Hannah. I used to be an avid Death Wish coffee drinker, and let me tell you what, Black Rifle Coffee just blasts them out of the stinking water. they have a lot of swag and apparel on their website. You can buy one time or you can buy a subscription. They have other gear such as mugs, equipment, and tumblers. Um, and I tell you that this is a veteran owned company that tries to employ veterans of all walks of life. It is a very diverse company. If you click on, again, blackriflecoffee.com and go to the About tab and watch their video, I'm telling you, man, this coffee is absolutely hands down the best coffee you will ever drink. Again, that is blackriflecoffee.com. While I have you guys, on here as well, I want to also give a shout out to our friends at Liquid Death. If you have never heard of Liquid Death, you are missing out. Murder your thirst at liquiddeath.com. That's right, liquiddeath.com, where you can buy a 12-pack of wonderful mountain water that is canned. It is these cans are made from aluminum that are 100% mountain water from the Alps. It's water made by nature, not a lab. This aluminum can is infinitely recyclable as to where plastic bottles are not. It is 8.1 plus pH, over 2 times more electrolytes than Essentia, Smart Water, Life Water, Core, and Aquafina. There are limited edition artwork that are on the bottom of each can. If you don't want to order offline, you can find Death Wish Coffee at your local Publix, 7-Eleven, Whole Foods, and a few other locations nationwide. They have a merch store. They have tons of different things, man. I can't speak enough good about it. Go to liquiddeath.com and murder your thirst. UD, welcome back.
My show. Welcome to put it in chat for you. Those of you who don't hear. Welcome to Coffee and Conversation. It is sometimes dark and bitter. It is sometimes light and fluffy. It is always good to the last mic drop.
Yes. Good Maxwell House coffee throwback there.
So we were talking about respecting yourself. When you respect yourself, you find it very difficult to disrespect others.
Absolutely.
But the kind of discourse we're seeing is just complete and utter contempt and disrespect. And the words have led to bullets inside of weapons and cars.
Absolutely.
And bombs and guns. They're playing war.
Sorry to interrupt. I'm going to step away now for a moment. So you are on for the next minute or so. I'll be right back.
Oh, sure. Take a moment. We'll do a little Q&A. Nobody knows me. If the 6 folks here and other watchers would like to ask questions about civil discourse, I train people in it at Supreme Court, United Nations level, and mediate and conflict resolution. I'm an empirical researcher in counter extremism. So I have to deal with this kind of weaponized language and its outcomes every single day. I have a constant dedicated folding server where stringers and other journalists and archivists, also stream me their data, showing me incidences that are incredibly violent, inhumane. I work in human rights practice. I've worked with refugees. I've done hostage negotiations. I do the cool Mindhunter thing where I have to interview really violent criminals and serial killers and people you wouldn't want to talk to. And then we try to understand, well, how did they get that way? So if you have any questions for someone like me, I'm also indigenous. I'm also a musician. Go ahead and ask. Ask anything you want. You're going to have to accept the answer. Or if you want to know a little more about Coffee and Conversation or what Union Underground Media does, feel free to ask. Or you have any thoughts or comments, go ahead and throw it right in chat, and we'll pick it right up. You don't have to just sit and watch us talk. I meant, don't you think many white folks are patronizing? It is condescending. Oh, you poor thing. oh, what happened to your people is so bad. Do you know why? They want us to be dead because it appeases their guilt. They want us to hurry up and go extinct. They won't even come when our Thanksgiving is our tradition. They won't even come when we set the table for them. Again and again and again, this happens. And I'm like, you don't respect our culture at all. You're so busy waving your flag that you won't accept a meal from a friend. You wouldn't dare sit down next to one of us, eat with one of us, because it make you too uncomfortable. You don't know how to be native. You only know how to be white. And you don't think it's okay to be white in front of native people. That is BS. That is the grossest, stupidest, thinnest excuse to be disrespectful. Food is life. Friends give you a reason to live. You're as much as telling us we don't really want to be your friends. We just want you to go away so we can keep on with our propaganda about, why we're boycotting Turkey. Whatever, right? It just never ends. We just can't get through. We can't get through to people. We're tired of begging, please come see us. Can we come see you? No, me and the wife, we're busy. We're going hiking. You're going hiking every damn weekend for you. No. It's all, we know that it's all a lie. There's so very, very, very few, handful of non-natives who actually want to hang with us and say, oh, y'all are cool. I can sit with you. Yes, you can. Come on. And we're going to have some work to do afterwards. Sure, I'll pitch in. Just be a human being. They either, elevate us with this mystical, every sacred word, we're so spiritual, or they shove their politics in our face, which is literally the same as hurry up and be a victim of genocide because we don't want you living. That's proof that you didn't all die. And then we can't advocate and be outraged appropriately. There are over 1,000 murdered children's bones we have found to date. It will continue to go. Nobody's outraged over that. It's just another news headline. It's just, that Indian thing.
Right.
All right? Yeah, they're patronizing, go mental. They're also not nice. They're just not kind. And they're not friends. We don't want allies. If you don't mind, as Red said, in our tradition, no one can speak for another unless there's a ceremony appointing that person. And we don't even speak of the dead, so no one's speaking. We don't have a eulogy.
Right.
We can't even speak for someone who's passed. Because why? They're someplace else now. Doing what they need to do. They're in the village where the dead people go. We don't bother them with noise and crying. It would hurt them. It would hurt them.
Absolutely.
It wouldn't hurt any of you to adopt a few of our perspectives and customs toward each other that you should share and use with each other. But patronizing, condescending, hypocritical, two-faced, forked tongue. Still to this day. Because I will dare each and every one of you to find me this Thanksgiving. If I'm not online, come to my house, wherever I live. I dare you. I promise you that in a week, 5 days, you won't want to leave. But you won't do it, will you? You would rather read about us in the book and fantasize about the hot Hollywood Indians that you see, with the loincloth and the flowing hair and the nipples and the, and if I was, Stans with the Fist, it would be so hot to hook up with Kevin Costner. But I prefer wind in his hair. I really like, don't you see I love you? And I'm like, no, you're not us. You're not us. Don't be a wannabe. We can't love and trust and respect you if you try to be a liar. Don't lie.
Exactly.
Find
from
out
my own
how tolerant
experience,
we are. Right.
when we talked earlier in the broadcast about my experience with the sweat lodge and so forth, I tell you what, that was a very eye-opening experience, both on a spiritual level, but on a personal level, because I'm getting to experience something that other folks have been raised up on, right? Fucking go mental. I love you, man. I do.
Us too. And Red got to
I'm
feel
sorry.
Red got to feel that sweat physically. That's what's the key.
I
in the heart.
got to exactly. I got to experience something spiritually that most may never get to experience in their life. So I feel very
Right.
honored to have that privilege bestowed onto me to be able to
Mhm.
be invited to such a an amazing ceremony. And that's just it, folks. If somebody from another religious background or spiritual background invites you to something, check it
Go.
out.
Yes.
Go.
Go.
Hell, I'm not Muslim, but I still went and I worshipped with them. I prayed with them. I did not
Oh,
know.
gorgeous.
I did not know what they were saying. I couldn't. I didn't. But I still learned about someone else.
Yeah. Listen, you want the world to be a better place? Try to remember to be fascinated with people. You're so fascinated with your phone and the television and the film. Be
And I'm
fascinated with people.
and don't get hung up on all this bullshit. And that's exactly what it is. And if I had a flag,
Superficial.
I'd blow a whistle and throw the bullshit flag. Don't get caught up in all this. Oh, you're appropriating this culture. If you are learning about that culture, you are not appropriating it.
No,
If you
no,
want to
that's right. That's
if
right.
you want to embrace another set of spiritual beliefs or another culture, do you, boo? You do it. You go
You
have
do you,
fun with it
boo.
because you're not
Express yourself.
appropriating it,
Express
right?
yourself most sincerely with respect
And
and
go,
commit and commit. And
yes,
eventually, like
for
every other
fuck's
member of that
sake.
society, they will say, you are trustworthy. And they'll begin to give you the tasks. But this is true of everybody. Children don't automatically be given tasks either. So you come in as a child, right? Humble, open minded, sincere. They will watch you grow. And if you don't leave, and they won't trust you at first because everyone always leaves us.
Yes.
All right. You might have to be there depending on how bad off that community is. It might take a minute. Don't expect them to shower you with, oh, my white savior's arrived. That's another thing. Too many people approach us
No.
thinking they're going to be the good one of the good ones, the chosen one. And I'm like, no, we had Crazy Horse Jack. It's okay, right? We've had all that. You're not one of the good ones, man. We don't even know you as a human being yet. I'm not going to give
So,
my daughter to you. Are you kidding? Or in fact, I have no right to give my daughter, but I'm not going to be so
right.
happy when she hooks up with, Outlander,
If
right?
it, right. So
He hasn't proven himself.
here's a way to look at this, folks. It's not appropriation, it's appreciation.
Yes.
That's words from a very wise person uh, in my life. So, all right. So here on Coffee Conversation, sometimes we like to have fun and be goofy and insane. We heard Fran Drescher come on earlier, and
Fran
that was
Drescher.
awfully fun. Oh my God. I don't,
Wait a minute. It's not Fran.
what?
It's not quite. This is Dran Fresha. This is Fran's cousin. All right. All right.
Okay. I hear ya.
I
So
never
where,
rolled in
tell it,
scale. I'm always Fresha. Go ahead.
so tell us, Dran, where are you from, darling?
Dram, I'm, uptown and to the right, you know.
Well, I come from
Uh-oh.
a group of lily pads. Um, this may be gilding my lily pad just a little bit, but it's not always easy being green.
Oh.
Um, everybody now knows that my name is Kermit the Frog, and I'm here to say just peace, love, and graham crackers, everybody, and it's just easy to love one another. It really is. I mean, for hell's sake, I dated a pig.
Don't you
That's
worry.
funny.
Every
Waka
frog
waka.
has his queen. It'll happen,
That's
honey.
right.
Just hang in there. Just do you. Just do you.
Oh, it will. And let Father Seamus tell you something else there, lad. You just got to be loving, and you just got to accept one another for who they are. Because whether you're Irish, whether you're Norwegian, whether you're something else, no matter where you be from, you're still a human, and it's time to start acting like it's. Because who the fuck cares where you're from? We're all human, and it's time we just love one another. Hey, it's a great thing. You should try it sometime.
Well, you might not want to love each other too much. Right now, there are 8 billion cases of love in the world. We might want to just, time ourselves. Pacing, moderation.
Love is a pandemic we can all get on board with, darling.
Mm. 8 billion people, I guess somebody did. Yeah, true. I would say it was an epidemic. Yeah. Very contagious.
Maybe more of a pandemic because,
Global.
love.
There he is.
Yes, hello, everybody. Charlie has decided to come here and make a visit. Listen. Stop.
Charlie.
Just fucking stop. Okay? All this, everything is due to white supremacy and all this other bullshit. That's all it is. In the words of the late, great George Carlin, it's all bullshit and it's bad for you, folks. Yeah. I read an article today. Did you hear about this, Red? I did, Charlie. There was an article in the Seattle Times bitching about the heat wave and how it's directly affecting those who are less affluent. I take issue with this. So in other words, they're trying to say that the sun is prejudiced. Now, how in the hell can a star in the solar system be prejudiced? Huh? It's just no, it doesn't work that way, people.
Charlie's a little bit, woof. He's got his chutzpah going on today, I see.
Oh, the reason is the little guy decided to get into my Black Rifle coffee and slug almost a whole pot to himself. No, I didn't. It wasn't coffee. It was coffee, Charlie. I saw you, man. Well, there's no video, so you can't prove it.
I feel for you, Charlie. You know, when I went to the doctor today, I had one of those inflammatory issues, and they put me so full of steroids, I feel like I'm going to explode like a hot air pumpkin. It's not good.
Like a rocket.
I'm just going to blow up like a tick-a-boo. So, Charlie, yeah, well, that's okay. We can both just get wound up and go out of control. You never know. And, we met him on the lily pad in the Central Park. He had his own show going. You don't follow him? He's got his own show. He leads a whole chorus. It's called the Crocus Central. It's fabulous.
Oh, my God, that sounds like a blast. I've actually thought about starting my own channel and just being Charlie the Ranting Puppet.
It should just be Charlie, like Halston. You only need the first name. Yeah.
Chatting with Charlie. Yeah.
Chatting with Chuck.
Oh, I think it would be great. What do you guys who hold on. Everybody that's tuning in live right now, I think there's 5 or more. Anybody who's tuning in, tell me what you think. Would you like to see an episode of Chatting with Charlie soon?
100%, Charlie. I think it will be fabulous. You and Red, you're quite the couple.
Oh, well, thank you. He's cute, isn't he? So for anybody who wants to know why his name is Charlie, if you look at him, the bowling shirt, he had more hair at one point in time. Yeah, I got into an accident with the hot glue gun. I named him Charlie because in the right light, he does kind of look like Charlie Sheen from 2.5 Men. So I named him Charlie. Now, when Charlie gets to when he gets a little of Grandpa's cough syrup, he becomes numbnuts because he gets a little strange and stupid. Hey, I'm not strange and stupid, man. I'm only as smart as the person handling me.
He called you out. Oh my God.
Do not stare at me in that tone of voice, young man. Imagine, if you will. This is too much fun.
Don't stare at me in that tone of voice. I can see you hearing.
I will never blink.
I just Pink Pig 76 says they think that would be super cool. Also, 100%. They would love to see Red and Charlie. Red. Charlie and Red were 2 excellent perfumes, by the way, back in the days of Charlie's Angels. Yeah. Yeah.
I should do a fundraiser with Charlie uh, someday. Holy cow! Charlie in the UK is slang for
Cocoa. Coca? What you mean coca? You mean like cacao? Or you mean
Are
like
you talking about the
soda?
Peruvian marching powder or?
That's what it is, Peruvian marching powder. They use it to get up the mountains. Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah,
I'm
oh
surprised he knows
yeah,
that.
oh yeah. Oh,
Coca.
there's a lot that I know.
What? Cocaine.
Oh,
All
oh
that.
yeah.
White. Hmm.
Oh well.
Why? Why do they call it Charlie?
That's a
Are you
good
in the
question.
UK, Go Mental? The United Kingdom, which, no offense, is falling apart because of uncivil discourse. I mean,
The whole world is falling apart.
Well, we need another hot glue gun. Maybe we can fix it, right? I bet Red could do it. I bet Red could
So
do it
Joe,
for you.
I listen to Joe Rogan a lot in his stand up, right? And
Oh,
he
Joe
had this
Rogan. Yeah.
one he had this wonderful idea of loading up these crop dusters with a bunch of chronic smoke, just flying over and crop dusting these people with a bunch of fucking pot smoke, man. Watch how fast we come together, man. Just think about it. We're all gonna be so stoned, we're not even gonna know what the hell we're fighting for. How
Well,
could
that's what the hippie said. What are we fighting for? 1, 2, 3. What are we fighting? Remember that? Remember the good old
oh
days?
yeah.
Peace,
Oh
love, and
yeah.
understanding, and weird dancing, and like body odor and all that good stuff.
Ooh,
Yeah.
SoCal. I've only been to Cali once, and that was to Hollyweird. I was on TV. No, I will not tell you what show because I'm rather embarrassed. However, I did get to meet.
Never be embarrassed. Never.
I did get to meet a wonderful human being who is no longer with us.
Oh,
I was really saddened to hear of his passing, and was really sad that I was unable to make the trip to pay my respects. Um, Due in part to my motor vehicle accident at the beginning of this month. Um, I am healing fairly decent, still in
good.
a fair amount of pain,
Me
but
too.
that's not to say there's not some struggles there. But anyhow, I digress. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know from y'all here in chat who are tuning in, no matter where you're tuning in from, if you have questions, comments, concerns, show ideas, you can feel free to email info at
I'm
beyondbarriersusa.org.
putting it in there.
Thank you. Or you can email me, Red, directly at red at beyondbarriersusa.org. Um, I want to thank each and every one of you. That's a little wrong, UD.
Mm-hmm. Red at USA.com.
No, I'll type it in here. Hold on.
Okay, he's gonna get the correction tape out. Beyond Barriers is extensive. It has several contact information. Read it.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
he's at
does.
Beyond Barriers. You with the whole thing. Read at Beyond Barriers.
Yeah. So, everybody, thanks for those of you who have taken the time to tune in. Thank you so very much for popping in and seeing us.
Mm-hmm.
This was an amazing opportunity. UD, thank you for being my co-host this evening. It has
Yeah,
been.
anytime.
We need to do it
Anytime.
again soon. Um,
Absolutely.
if any of you have ever wondered about the artwork that hangs behind my head, that is a piece that I personally have painted. If you like what you see and want to see more, hit me up at the email address you see in chat, and I can guide you to my Instagram page where I have more of my art, and all of my pieces are up for grabs if you want them. I do commission pieces as well.
Okay.
Bye. See you later. Go mental. It was
I'm
nice.
here.
Thanks for popping in, my friend. It is nice to see you here.
It's me.
Friends, hit that like and share button. Smash it. Share the heck out of
Go
this
out and
stuff.
smash it. Oh my
That's right.
God. Tonight's
That's
gonna
right.
be a good night. Yeah.
That's right.
Do it for
If
me.
you want
Do
to,
it again.
if you want to support Beyond Barriers and Underground Media, you can do so by going to anchor.fm and subscribing. You can subscribe for free. However, For as little as 99 cents per month, either one time or recurring gift, you can support us so we can continue to bring this quality programming to you. The three tiers are
Mm-hmm.
99 cents per month, $4.99, and $9.99 per month. Again, that could be either a one time gift or a reoccurring monthly gift. And I tell you what, if you want to get into podcasting, Anchor.fm is your way to go. It is your one stop shop for podcasting. They give you all the editing tools you need to edit your podcast from either your computer or your phone. So you can either, and they will distribute this podcast for you through Spotify, Apple Music, and other platforms. So if you want to get started podcasting on your own, head over to anchor.fm on your web browser, or you can go to your app store on your Android or iPhone and download the app for free.
Mm-hmm. And if you like this channel, there are two. There's Underground Media, Coffee and Conversation. Then there's Beyond Barriers podcast. So if you really do
Correct.
like this content and all the different things that we can do, when Acacia gets back, consider throwing her a bitty party. There's nothing better than a bitty party. You all chat, y'all know what I mean. Think about subscribing. Following is great. Biddies, great. Say welcome back. Also, it's okay to suggest topics. It's okay to say,
Yes.
I'd really like to hear you guys talk about this. It's okay to ask to join a conversation too. Of course,
Oh,
you got to realize you got your
absolutely.
producers. The mic is not always open, but if you're here and you're talking, they're going to pay attention to you. Acacia sends her love.
Absolutely.
Says she misses you already. She will be back soon. And she's such a lovely, a lovely woman.
Um, I do
Okay.
believe that next week there will be a special guest. Larry Kupperman will be joining us, I believe, on Tuesday and possibly Thursday next week. I am unsure 100% if I will be in attendance. I have to look at my upcoming schedule. Tuesday is going to be a very, Tuesday is the 6th, I believe. That is going to be a rough, long day. Um, so I'm not 100% sure that I will be in attendance next week for the podcast. I might pop in and say hi. But much love to each and every one of you. UD, do you have anything else you want to add before we close out tonight?
My usual shill. I got blown away by tornadoes. Not joking. If anybody
Oh,
wants to help me get out of it, I'm trying to close a GoFundMe. No joke. Serious as a heart attack. Visit my stream. I am at Universal Discourse on Twitch. The link is there. Consider helping directly. Please consider sharing that link and push that out until I can close it and get where I need to be. It was horrible. The whole tiny town was shattered. So,
yeah.
also, I do something called All Things Quantum and Indigenous. If you really want to learn about Indigenous philosophy, life, culture, language, I'm the real thing. Come over here. Sit at the table I set. You'll be treated with absolute respect. I also train in debate. I train in civil discourse. I do something very rare called the Cree Council method. It's not exactly a sweat lodge, but guess what? It's the way that we're trained to talk inside of a sweat lodge, and you may participate online. I also do karaoke night, open mic night, and I have a mean D&D game. My chat is my
Oh
content.
gosh,
Come bring me your
love
story.
D&D.
I am a storyteller. I will make you almost as important as Red. I'll make you feel like $1,000,000. So come on over and meet Dran Fresher. Never old, always fresher. All right? Come on over and visit. It's a medicine circle. I'm on, a little bit sketchy having been blown away. Follow my schedule. Please join my Discord. Hit me up. Ask me anything. Learn from me, and you've paid me the greatest respect, my people. My elders asked me to come share what I know with you. Please respect them. Learn. Come and learn. We're going to go. We're going to let Mr. Red take his coffee and the conversation, and we're gonna go have a little offline, a little thing. We're gonna have a little
All right.
kvetch. So it's very good to meet you. Take care. Also, say goodbye. It's Independence Day.
Peace, love, and graham crackers, everybody. This is Red signing off. Love you all. Have a great week. Until we meet again.
Bye.